Namaskar. Today we have very special guests, Vasudeva and Hladini. They are living in Norway and they are practicing sadhana, spiritual meditation I was not even born when they started to do that. So I would like to use that opportunity to get some sharing from them. I will ask some questions and then we will see how the conversation will flow. So Vasudeva and Hladini, you've been practicing over 40 years, I think 46 something. 40.
I started in 1972 and she started in
1979.
Yeah, just I was 1 year old that time when she started. So it's during my experience of sadhana, I felt it's not so easy actually to maintain the flow. There is so much struggle in spiritual life. There is dilemmas, moral dilemmas coming out, and I just really admire the people who has marched on that march for so many years. It's immediately I just hear the number that the moment I want to bow down. And because I know how hard it is, what struggle it is, and I know that there must be a source of inspiration for that. Because our practice is not just practice, it is a tough practice. You have to do it twice a day and you have to follow. So I would like to hear from you, what is that, the very core inspiration that moves you forward?
maybe Hladini can say.
Yeah, for me, I think what was very important for me is to have the community around the satsang. That we always went to collective meditation, to keep the satsang and the inspiration and to meet other people that with the same kind of spiritual attitude. The spiritual is very important. It was very important for us. And that we also have each other to give each other inspiration by the way, because sometimes one was maybe up and the other was down, then the one that was up could inspire the other one that was down, and then opposite. And to keep company with other people with the same kind of...
Sounds as a good arrangement, the spiritual family.
Spiritual family is very important when you go in this road. And I remember one day I was trying to not do meditation for one day, just to see, what is the effect? Is it because of some fear, why I continue, or is it because there is some importance in the meditation? I could really feel this emptiness, just for one day not doing meditation. And then I discovered that this is what I do also for myself. It's very important, like a mental shower that you take twice a day, because all the influence from society, all the things that, so many thoughts during the day, so many impressions from what you're doing, from people, from what you're looking at, and you need to just take a mental shower, by doing meditation. And I feel that's very important, to go inside and just concentrate your mind, and then all these thoughts, and then things become clearer. It's like the water. It's like this, and then it starts to calm down, and then you see things clearly. The mental shower, so important, and also for me to have a direction in life, just to. It was the main cause why I searched for spirituality, to have a direction in life. Because before that, I didn't have any belief, I didn't have any directions. But 1 year before I got initiation, I started to feel must be something more, must be another dimension in life, some creation that is have created all this.
So how you feel that? Means direction is there, we are moving somewhere. So how you personally experience that? What is how you can describe it?
In meditation and sometimes also in other situations, I can feel this oneness. In some minutes, some seconds. And it's so strong sometimes, this feeling of that we are one. That we are one, every the animals, the nature, the human beings, that we are one entity. Sometimes I feel it, and I search. I want to have this feeling again, even if it was for a second, for a minute. So strong, this feeling, and so nice and blissful feeling. And I wanted to be like this all the time, actually, but I know it's difficult to feel this. This is a meaning of life.
Vasudeva,
Yeah.
so what is your discovery on the path?
Because I started before that with transcendental meditation, another type. And why was because in the 60s, when I was young, there was enormous revolution actually against the parents, what to say, before that the sons and daughters of the parents was dressed like them, they went and they voted the same, they became like, there was no youth dimension in a way. But when Beatles came and all these people came and they didn't cut their hair, and that was enough, you know, then they were somehow different. And of course I went into this with all my heart. I was playing music and
Did you have the long hair?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, can you imagine? Long hair. And became quite popular in a way. And but in that life, you know, you have...
So you were the musicians of the time and you have got popularity.
Yeah, and like a singer. But I felt it was not for me. It was like, but maybe mostly due to drugs, because the lifestyle... Yeah, the lifestyle of an artist is sometimes, in that time, it's very hippie-oriented, as you told. So it was, in a way, mind-blowing what was going on, but at the same time there was some bad things, some very good things and some bad things. I mean, the artist during that time was not allowed to enter USA. Many, like John Lennon, you know, he was very strong in his expression, and many artists, they were fighting in that time of evolution enormously. I was looking back and I found, wow, what they were, but during that time I didn't see it so closely. I just was a part of it. But then Beatles started to be interested in how to get out of this mess with the drugs and things. So they started to search towards East. Meditation came up. That's why I started with transcendental meditation, because they started with transcendental meditation. So in a way they were, actually I found that the artists during that time, they were, for example, very much in favor of black music in America, soul and rhythm and blues and things. But in America it was such a racistic system, more than apartheid in South Africa almost. It was like the black people could not go to the universities, they could not go on the same bus as the white, you know. So the black artists there was a very low priority. They were working like painters in the studio and things. They were not really even earning money to live from it.
Actually, I think it's the best, because when the art is like that, when the art is the revolution,
of course,
something really Also, we have in Russia, where
Yeah.
I live, there was a period when the artists they were just, coming out with a new message, and they
Yeah.
were working in a very, very low-paid jobs,
Yeah.
just somehow to
Yeah.
survive. And,
Yeah.
but their main calling was to do the art, and that was really fantastic. Nothing can compare with that age.
That's true, but the side effect was the racism. So you can say that the Western artists they loved the black musicians. So in a way, but the white people in US hardly listen to the black people. So in a way, they helped with the. Of course, it's still a big issue, but they helped in a way to remove a little bit of this racistic thing, so they could go to the same university, for example, and get into the same bus, all this stuff. So it was a kind of revolution in a way. But we were also very much destroyed in our minds. So when I started to do meditation, I was very sick, very paranoid, very destroyed, Like I was thinking about suicide. I was thinking about... in my hometown, I was quite known to people. They used to say hello, like this, and I was walking in the side streets, hiding myself as much as possible because I could not stand people looking at me. Then I learned meditation, and even on the way to the group meditation, I had to jump off the subway train to go to toilet in the gasoline station because I had diarrhea. And I went into the bus and everybody was looking at me. Of course not, but I was paranoid, very destroyed. So of course meditation for me was like very important thing, very important. It was the only thing that could drag me out of the quicksand, you can say. So the starting point was very strange because I felt so much a need for harmony because I had so much disharmony in myself, and name and fame was of all these people watching you, I was so fed up of the whole thing, all the whole music branch and everything. But the problem was when I started to do meditation, I felt more and more, that, wow, animals, I cannot eat meat, because I started to get empathy for the animals. And all my friends, were still in this very static. I felt slowly I went out of that negativity because I started to concentrate on deeper frequencies in myself. And I felt, of course, up and down, because sometimes I felt that I was burning, because for me meditation is a tool to burn things from the past. And it was a lot of things in my bag from the past. So it was a process, very painful process, to burn and remember, and why did I have balance for 10 years ago? Now I'm totally out of balance. You understand? And then suddenly go into meditation and have to face all these questions, because to clear out things you have to see it. And I think with meditation the awareness is growing.
So did you feel like your life is improving with your meditation, or you felt it is rather also some entering into something other difficult? It's like you said that before I was in balance and now I am out of balance. Why is that?
But meditation brought me into, like she said, a direction of life. And I felt as soon as I entered the first meditation group, I felt so much that I could remember all that was said. It was like, this I have heard before. This is from past life or whatever you believe in, This is something in me that is responding in my heart to these things. So I felt more and more confidence that I have found something that could bring me more towards what the whole hippie generation wanted: love and harmony. And of course we went blind, you know, we searched in so many experimental ways, but it was, I think the intention behind the whole thing was to find themselves. So, but during that time it was very, you know, it was very Indian type of feeling. Today, after so many years, you know, I'm so happy that the world society has grown more together. We can take the Indian, you know, the yogic tradition and bring it to the West and analyze it and find out, wow, this is a very important step in the direction of health. And then you find yoga centers everywhere, and maybe somebody's more treating yoga as a gymnastic, and people maybe get overloaded with I don't know, but the science, I think the science behind it will be more and more deep in the mind of the people, that actually to balance the hormones and glandular system and to make things in harmony inside, you know, will be more and more known to the people. All these jewels from the world society is coming into everybody's
household
folder. So we can choose, you know, all these good diamonds to build our health more proper, and to use meditation as a real tool to move towards the essence of ourself, which is more and more consciousness, and more love for more and more consciousness, because we need balance between us and the nature. We need balance to survive on this planet, and to know that we need consciousness. And so consciousness, without consciousness we will not sit there, we will not be able to speak. So I feel meditation is a very powerful tool, not only to develop more and more awareness of yourself and your own issues and to work on that, but also to develop the more awareness of how to move to make harmony with you and the nature. And all these things, of course, is spread through electronic network these days. So this is the time. When I was young, that was a time of stagnation in a way, but now it's a time of speed. So every information we send out is somehow, young people at least, the old people maybe in my age, they are caught into their, you know. But young people, like here in the Rava festival, you know, people from different, like Tai Chi, meditation, this and that, come together and they sing songs, we are one, you know. And I mean this like Ladin, this oneness feeling is, I think is personally I feel that is a very strong tool against this polarization energy that is threatening us, that is saying war and saying all these bad things. When people have learned that, you know, the golden cow in the Bible, when everybody's rushing towards becoming and have been indoctrinated, programmed in their mind to think that if I just get enough of these material things, I become rich. Then of course it's a blind track, because this world have limited things, you know, to share. But if they can change their minds to think that, well, I can use my intelligentsia to help others by my skills, of course they will not feel, if that is an impulse that will will come into the mind of the people, they will feel rich with less. And they will feel so rich by helping other people. They will reach more and more into their true self. The feeling, as Ladini said, of oneness with everything, that is a so beautiful feeling, so enormous. And I think, personally, I think you cannot reach to that place only by reading books. You have to reach that place by loving love, by loving the nature, loving the creator, loving everything, and that is more valuable than if you tell me, if you want to give me, let's say you want to give me 100 millions if I get rid of this meditation, I would say no. You can give me endless money, even who am I, you know, you can give me, I would like to have some money just to travel maybe, or to save myself from the children and things. We have 4 children together, so there is a responsibility for that. But if you ask me to get so and so many millions for getting rid of my meditation, I would say meditation is more valuable for me than any money. You cannot buy it. It's valuable. So I think when the materialistic wave, you know, they understand that this is not the way to harmony. This is sometimes the way to loneliness. This is sometimes the way to blockation. If they realize this and move towards real, true harmony and richness, they will be able to use their skills, which is many skillful people, to help the society. My God, it's a beautiful thing. And then they will find that, what did I do, you know, with all this money and all these cars? I didn't use more than one car.
I want to ask one more question. You said that you have 4 kids. I would like to ask Vladimir.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy having those kids, and how is it to combine this sadhana and the kids? I mean, the kids wakes you up in the night, and then when you do meditation, they are not of that opinion that mother should do meditation, mother should give care to me. So what is your feeling about having kids for the spiritualists, for the practitioners of sadhana? Because many people of opinion that you have to become like a monastic life, and that is suitable for sadhana, and yeah, I would like to ask that.
Yeah, I was actually thinking to talk about that. For me, it was, I always tried to do sadhana, because sadhana is to try to do meditation. So even if I was nursing the baby, I was sitting like this and try my best to do my meditation. And I always, you know, the children also got used to that we was doing meditation, or I was doing meditation. So it's like I always tried my best to do my meditation twice a day, even if I had children around me. Sometimes they crawled around me, and I was sitting there and tried, and of course you get disturbed, but the trying is the main thing, you know, that you try your best, even if you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then that was my determination, that I really wanted to do it anyway, even if I was disturbed. And of course, supporting each other, that he took the baby, or after some time, and then you get some help, and you have a husband that understands that meditation is important for you. It helps a lot, and that we both was doing meditation all the time.
It's a big job, you know, to have a family, because you get up in the morning, you have to do your meditation, you have to do your asanas, you have to go to job, and you go to job with not always a sattvic environment. And you come home 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, you know, you have to do your sadhana. First you have to pick up the children in the kindergarten, you do your sadhana, you do your meditation, and then time is almost bedtime, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole timers, you have your jobs to do, and family people have their jobs to do. But as soon as children become sick, you know, we are there to help. And while children are growing, like in your age, you can see your mama is still wondering how you are, and the same with us. You know, the parents are our parents the whole life, and children are children the whole life. It has been a challenge for us to we are like, I feel, a long traveler in the marriage thing. Many people today, they marry and they break up.
Yeah.
Marry, break up, especially the...
Did you have the same feeling situation sometimes that you have to overcome?
Yeah.
We had our challenges
course.
towards each other, because it's you know, we have to be with one person whole life. It's quite challenging sometimes. You know, you see not always the good side of the person, so it's
All
a
the
training center that you have to work on yourself, because it's a mirror also, so you understand that my irritation is inside myself actually. But you see something with the other person, but actually this is inside yourself. You have to discover that you have to overcome your irritation, your frustration sometimes, and it's a challenge. It's really, and with the children, and with maybe less money, we had many.
This is what I saw
challenges.
also. I felt that as a monk, I went to training center, and then I felt a complete change. After like 3 years, I felt so much pain there in training center, because you go through internal churning,
burning.
but then you come out a different man. So now I see the people marry, innocent people marry, then they go through difficulties for the 3 years, and then I see completely different people. They really blossomed, and you see a mature person with really love in the heart. And this touches me so much to see those families who, and being also ideological. It's not so like, I'm not inspired with the families who just marry and live like, you know, like squirrels with each other, building their, you know, the nest, and not really thinking anything larger. But when I see families which have this both, they have their balance in their family life, and they also have their you know, this wideness of the heart, and really working for the society. I felt so much touched. And I see the same transformation happens, but in a different way. We are there alone within ourselves, fighting with ourselves, own selves, and then you family people, you fight with each other, and in that way transcend that. I feel it's so beautiful.
Sometimes I feel it's like a stone, you know, that is a, you know, it's maybe a sharas also, that is what you call it? It's polished, and then they become like soft. It's like this, you know.
I feel myself that I went through so many disillusionment with the path, with the sadhana. I understood that no, it's not going to help me right now, and I really have to move forward. And then when you see this struggle in yourself, you start to understand. I just feel I become more human instead of becoming more idealistic.
Yes.
Like this idealism is already beaten up, and it's just there. It's a little bit remains, but it's already dying. But and then you understand. I'm struggling, he's struggling. So what is there to judge?
I think then Sanghachalam, this tantric ceremonies become deeper. They are so deep, you know, and so powerful. They can help us really all the way. So it's so deep. So to educate each other.
When there is an appreciation of each other. Like in the beginning you judge, but then you appreciate. You just see whatever quality is there. You see the person is so simple, but there is something in him, and you adore that person, despite of anything. So in this atmosphere, I think everyone becomes more.
That's the thing. You are right on the point. The atmosphere, we have to create the atmosphere. Even like you can imagine organization, such a big things, and we are not gone to university, so you can imagine from India to here, and everywhere they try their best. Maybe they fail in some point, but there must be some good points. So we learn on the run, you know, how to do the whole thing because we are devotees to love, to harmony.
After all, we are achieving something which is unbelievable almost.
Yeah.
It's like for
How-
thousands and thousands of years, Homo sapiens just lived on the levels of the Manipura chakras, or the
Yeah.
Sthana chakra. They
Yeah.
were happy living there.
So,
And there was no idea of this one, and like teachers for thousands of years, they tried to move us there, but we don't want to go. Jesus Christ tried to move us there.
Yeah.
The Buddha tried to move us there. Shiva tried to move us there.
Yeah.
Krishna tried.
Yeah.
But they all, I cannot say failed, but the humanity was still very stagnant. And today we are really achieving something.
yeah, so fast.
Yeah,
Going very fast now.
Yeah,
Time of speed, you know.
very interesting.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's miracles what we are seeing, but we are seeing it daily, so we don't think it
Yeah,
as
we
it's a
get
miracle.
accustomed.
But can you imagine a man from, for example, 1970s, where I started meditation?
Yeah.
He was, let's say, he was in coma, and we're waking up now in 2018. He will get, or she will get shocked, you know.
I remember one day, one person came. He was there in the lecture and sitting and smiling, and I liked him. So he came for initiation, but I assessed his mental state. I thought, no, this man cannot take initiation. He's so too simple.
Yeah.
Just the mind is so, almost like dumb. Then I thought, okay, you take this mantra, Nama mantra, this very simple most practice, and you practice it. After half a year he came, and he's different. Intelligence is there. And I'm just like, what? What happened to him?
Yeah.
He's an intelligent person, deep person. He's able to grasp the concepts. And I was like, wow, this is a miracle. This is really a miracle. I mean,
so he changed, or?
he changed
Yeah.
so much. And then it's like, we human beings, we walk the path of evolution, and it takes for thousands and thousands of years to come somewhere. And here in 6 months, something happens to the person. And at that remarkable speed is a miracle that we don't fall. We fall, but we have to fall much more than we do. It's like, really.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Anyway, I'm
That's-
talking. I want to listen to you.
No, it's nice that you say these things because this is the days of opportunity. This is like you have internet, you have YouTube, you have all these things. I mean, in Norway, can you imagine? They hear about you in Norway, and you have a charisma, you have a kind of speaking that attract people, young people. And I mean, if young people can influence the leaders of today, they will be very happy. Because the leaders of today, they are maybe, as always, being like father and mother of the society, but they cannot think everything. So when new people come in, and try to inspire them, they will feel a great help. And today I see so much flow in the young people that will challenge the older generation, and they have a lot of healthy things, not hippie type of things. The drugs is going
it's
down.
It's out of fashion. Well, I mean, for some it is, but I feel it's coming out of fashion now.
Yeah, of course, it's a big. She's working with the heroin
I
doctor.
work with the drug addicts, so it seems like it's not out of fashion.
Not out of fashion. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
not the heavy drugs. It's
It's a lot of mouth.
it's so you get so dependent on this, so
Meditation and yoga is becoming more and more popular. So if we can help in our different ways, or we can listen to them and we can learn something, because everything comes from the cosmos. So it's like I feel the opportunities today is so much different. As I told in the 1972 we had black and white television and a home telephone and telephone boxes. And if you wanted to phone from here to Denmark, from Norway, for example, to Denmark, you have to go to different places and wait for hours. And then telephone call from Denmark,
Yeah.
And in India, I remember I ordered a telephone in the morning. in the middle of 70s or end of 70s, and then it took 12 hours and a telephone call to Norway. You know, it was different time. Today, time of speed. So it's totally different.
So, at the end of our talk, I think we talk a lot now.
Yeah.
So,
If you want, you can talk with.
You are the very best suggestion for our viewers, and your wishes for them.
To whom?
To the people who are viewing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say
Your
personally.
suggestion, your.
If you have the chance to learn meditation, it's like you get rich inside, you know. This is the main thing, that to get rich inside. To have all this materialistic thing is not, it's just necessary, just the basic. I mean, food and medicine and house and all this is very important, but to have, this is just a basic thing. But to get rich by materialistic thing is not important, but to get rich inside and to have meditation, then you can go in your temple. Temple is your body. You go inside whenever you want, and then you have something for the rest of your life. But to keep the flow together with other people, to continue meditation every day, try to meet other people that do the same to get the inspiration, and sing Bhavanam Kevalam.
Yeah, well, not so much to add to that. It's just that try to see each other's even though you are into your own growth and development, try to see others also that and understand that it is a work to do, to develop oneself and to help and accept instead of judging, and to really try your best to be a brother or sister in this march towards, and maybe accept the divine dimension as a mother or a father. And once when you tap into some kind of cosmic arena, if you are in trouble and you ask questions, you will get some answers. In my opinion, I was a social worker. I worked with a person that had enormous psychosis. He thought he was, his psychosis was quite innocent. He thought he was the bass player of an artist called David Bowie, a famous artist in the West. And he used to say just like, I'm a bass player of David Bowie. And then they say, no, you are not. And then he will phone them all 24 hours, I'm a bass player, you know. I stopped this nonsense. And I told him that, you know, I don't care who you were. I like you. You are a very good bass player now, so I will record with you. And he started to like me. And then I ended the work with him. And just after that, he lived in a community with mental diseased people and with drug addicts. He was a very good painter, actually. Then one day, one man came on his door, you know, ringing the bell, and he didn't want him to allow him to come in. So he was ringing one more time. He came with a knife and he killed him.
That man.
That man I was working with, and his mother phoned me and said, "Oh, my son died, you know, due to this, and you have to help me. You have to sing a song in his funeral." I have never played in a funeral, you know, because funeral you have to be really yourself, because it's not a joke, you know. So I was sitting down, you know. I don't know if I can recall it, because that time that was a song that was meant for that event. So my hand was like this to the paper, and I wrote down words, you know, and a melody came. And it was very strange to me, because when I came in the church, a guitar player, because I'm not actually, but the guitar player was helping me. He was sitting there, the priest was sitting there, and the family was sitting there, and the whole audience was full of artists, painters and things, because it was quite famous painter, and police, because he was killed. So it ended, but the vibration from that song, I never could deliver it again like that, but it was like a gift. So sometimes when we tap in, we can get help. It's called Even in the Darkest Night. So it's about us all in a way. Our daily life goes on and on, with pain and joy, rain and sun. We keep on searching for the one, and many times we feel lost and gone. But you, my love, you are always there. You, my love, you will always care. Even in the darkest night. Good and bad, night and days, hopes are crushed and dreams are made. Young we will let all days come. When darkness blind us, light become, because you, my love, you are always there. You, my love, you will always care. Even in the darkest night. A lifetime seems to be so long, but one day it will be gone. Where will it go? Where will it end? Please guide us through to the promised land, because you, my love, you are always there. You, my love, you will always care. Even in the darkest night. Even in the darkest night. Even in the dark.